Kids WB, one of the most classic things from your childhood and my childhood. It's a classic that has been with us in our minds and in our hearts for our entire lives as we grew up. Unfortunately, it had to come to an end, but its anniversary is coming up later this year, and so I figured we would do a video where we talk about the wonderful world of Kids WB. And I have with me today to talk about all of this, I have WaveCube.
Thanks for having me, Jamie. I'm very excited to talk about this.
It's always fun getting to dive into some old classics.
Yes, sir.
So I wanted to say, Kids WB just kind of as a whole was... I mean, Cartoon Network was described recently as the kid in the back of the classroom shooting spitballs. Kids WB wasn't far off from that kid. If Cartoon Network was that one kid who's in the back of the classroom shooting spitballs, then Kids WB was that kid's like little punk friend. And Kids WB was very unregulated with a lot of the stuff that they did, which was for better or for worse. And they were a just kind of playground for kids and adults to go to and just have fun and watch TV and not have to worry about, you know, the problems of anything going on, because you've got wacky Kids WB here to keep you company. What did you think of Kids WB? How was your experience with it?
Completely agree, dude. And basically, my whole kind of memories with it was, I think a lot of it was just like Yu-Gi-Oh! And a lot of those kind of like things. And I think in terms of just like the rambunctiousness of Kids WB, it really, I think, captured like a world. Like you really felt like you were connected to these characters and like the whole like world as a whole, basically. And it's left a long-lasting impact on not just us, but I think just a whole generation of kids, because it captured Saturday morning, I think, perfectly, and it felt like you were talked to specifically as a kid, and wasn't just talked down to. And like the programming and the whole vibe of everything felt like it was on all of our wavelengths, I'd say.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, it's good. That was it.
Okay. Well, that being said, I mean, you can't have a great Kids WB without great shows, right? Did you have any favorites by any chance? I know I did.
Yeah. No, I mentioned Yu-Gi-Oh! A little bit earlier, but that one, I mean, that was on 4Kids as well too. But like, there was a lot of crossover, I think, with a lot of those particular shows. I think a lot of my personal favorites, that was on the block specifically. I love Mucha Lucha, and Jackie Chan Adventures, because I was really into like fighting and martial arts kind of stuff growing up, and having like all like kind of this like globetrotting kind of like fun adventure, and even having Jackie Chan himself like show up in like the credits, which was super cool, talking to the kids and like the audience, which was really fun. And engaging of an experience. And my other like number one favorite probably would be like a tie like Mucha Lucha and like Shaolin Showdown. I loved the whole action comedy and like how like high the stakes would get a lot of the time in Shaolin Showdown, and like all the fun, cool, mythical like items and weapons, and like I had the games and stuff growing up, and I wanted to be these characters and like go on this like cool like just world like crossing adventure. And Mucha Lucha was awesome to be more comedically in tone and just having fun fights and cool and like unique action, and just like the kind of fun banter that the characters have back and forth, especially the movie special that they did back in the day. That was a lot of fun too, having some celebrity cameos and things showing up, and just having just pure creative fun. It felt like that they always were showing off in a lot of those shows.
I agree. And, you know, I think it's very interesting that Kids WB is a block not a lot remember, but it had more impact than I think a lot of people remember. Because, for example, some of the people's most favorite cartoons today premiered and debuted on Kids WB. Not Cartoon Network. Of course, they eventually migrated over eventually. But Kids WB is where they started. And these were all meant to specifically be Kids WB shows. So, for example, Animaniacs is one of the biggest shows that affected pop culture, maybe like ever or whatever? Like, it's crazy And even that started on Fox originally, but Kids WB really helped it, and DCAU as well, with the Superman the Animated Series. BTAS obviously started on Fox, but like Batman Beyond, for example, was a big one for Kids WB. And then you move on to other areas as well. Tiny Toon Adventures, the Men in Black animated series. I mean, come on, that was such a good one, dude.
Yeah.
Pokemon, you know what I mean? Like, obviously it aired on Cartoon Network 2 and things like that, but Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, these were all things that I watched every Saturday morning when they debuted new episodes. And it's like you said, Jackie Chan Adventures, X-Men Evolution, Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man is one of the most popular of all of the Spider-Man shows, debuted on Kids WB, right? Cubics, Robots for Everyone. That's another one where it's total classic. Of course, you have the countless other things on there as well. Mucha Lucha, as you mentioned, definitely redefined a generation. Ozzy and Drix was phenomenal. Teen Titans, yeah. Mega Man NT Warrior, dude. That was like so fire. Shaolin Showdown, agreed. So good. The Batman, absolutely incredible. One I'm going to throw at you that got a lot of hate, but, you like what you like. Coconut Fred's Fruit Salad Island, I thought was funny. I thought it was so hysterical. Beautiful Joe. You remember that show? Beautiful Joe was really good. Crypto the Super Dog. All of these shows would have never, maybe not never happened, but their chances of happening were slimmer to none were it not for Kids WB. And there's just so much for us to go into with these.
Definitely. And I think the other big one too, not a lot of people I think forget or remember that it aired originally on there. Johnny Test was the first one also, where it was a different art style, and then they eventually did go on over to Cartoon Network for like cost cutting and like production and animation studio differences. But like that was really at like its peak. A lot of people would arguably say we're all on the same page about where early Johnny Test was like really solid and like for a lot of people actually funny, which was cool. And yeah, I agree. Such a dope lineup overall.
Yeah, and like a lot of the shows, like I said, like Teen Titans was starting on there. Like a lot of these shows heavily impacted a lot of cartoons in general and just pop culture, and these are shows that they really went beyond the screen in a way.
I agree.
So in addition to the classic shows that they had a crazy package inside of their network, such as the way that they did promos, the way that they did advertisements and things like that. So they loved to do what some networks would dabble with, kind of here and there, but none really truly accomplished like Kids WB, such as having promos with crossovers, characters you'd never think interacting, such as Yugi interacting with Ash Ketchum, or Batman interacting with, Pinky and the Brain, or something like that. Things you would have never thought possible, they made possible. Then, of course, you had other fun ones, too, such as them just having a sock, and that's just kind of like the promo, and it's just a sock talking about all the cool stuff coming to Kids TV. It was this type of, what's the word? Not behavior, but like it was this type of presentation that Kids WB gave that gave them this sense of respect with the audience. That
very down to earth, I think.
Yes, it was very down to earth. It was very relatable, very trying to relate to the audience, and very trying to just have fun. And I think that was very well spread across throughout.
Yeah, 100%, dude. And it was so cool seeing all these like collaborations back and forth, and it was crazy because like they would do not just like with other cartoon characters too, but they would have like live action ones also. So like Lou Bega and like other like popular icons at the time for music artists, alongside even like upcoming shows that they would have like on the next network, like when they would transition from Saturday mornings to the next one. So like you could have like Batman talking to, I think, Joey from Friends, or like random people like on like the next show coming up, which was very surreal to see that. And yeah, it was all across the board, which I thought was really unique that they did.
Yeah, and they had a whole like even like Yugi's dueling tips and trips training camp where like a bunch of the
Yeah,
other Kids WB like characters would show up and
yeah,
just learn Yu-Gi-Oh from Yugi. So you would have Uncle from Jackie Chan, you'd have Shaggy, all trying to learn like Yu-Gi-Oh, and like
yeah.
all of it is just like it's so imaginative. It's so funny. You know.
Mhm. One more thing.
Yes, yes, Uncle. Um, yeah, dude, Kids WB was just amazing. Then obviously one day Kids WB had to come to an end, and it was eventually replaced by CW for Kids, which was basically a collaboration between 4Kids Entertainment, which used to be Fox, and Kids WB, and that was kind of the beginning of the end, I think, for Kids WB, because I think that they were, I think anything once they had that merger, anything that made them kind of Kids WB was just kind of muddied down by the other company. So it's a bit unfortunate, but we do still have the memories of Kids WB that it gave to us as well. Um, but yeah, I really kind of can't think of much else to talk about Kiss the Beat, to be honest with you, outside of the promos and shows we talk about.
Yeah, I think same for me too. You
Really?
helped me catch the other ones too, like
Yeah.
Ozzy and Drix. I'm like, how did I forget that one?
Yeah, man, that is so good. I mean, there's so. I mean, even some that like didn't have as much of an impact as they probably thought they were thinking about, like Lunatics Unleashed, for example, is a show that I was just talking about on stream the other day. Like that one was,
Yeah,
it didn't catch on, but I think that, I thought it was a fun idea. I thought it was cool watching it. I liked Legion of Superheroes too. Was another good one they had.
oh yeah.
Yep.
Lose.
Yep. You remember Shaggy and
Yeah.
Scooby Doo Get a Clue?
Yeah, that one was really hated too.
I liked
But,
that one a lot. I thought that was
I never
good.
watched it. Oh, and What's New Scooby Doo also originally aired on there too, I think, right?
What's New Scooby
Before
Doo?
Cartoon Network, or
Tom and
maybe
Jerry
vice versa?
Tales. Yep.
Yes.
Skunk
I love
Fu.
Tom and
Yeah.
Jerry. Yeah, and Skunk Fu's crazy because Faith from Mirror's Edge voices Skunk, which I always thought was funny.
Oh wow.
If you know who that is, yeah. Where I'm like, that's the same person because my friend really loves Mirror's Edge, and I'm like, oh, that's Skunk Fu, and he's like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, you had to be there.
Did you watch a lot of the later shows on Kids WB, such as like Monster Allergy or Spider Riders?
I remember Spider Riders more when they would have the promos on Cartoon Network, not on Kids WB.
Oh really?
If
I didn't even
recall
know it
correctly.
aired
Or
on
no,
Cartoon
no,
Network.
not Spider Riders. Sorry, I'm thinking Stormhawks. My brain went too. Spider Riders. What was that?
That was like an anime. It was like an anime that was on Kids WB. Spider Riders. No, not coming to.
I'm looking it up again.
Yeah.
This looks vaguely familiar. I think like late Kids WB maybe.
Yeah, this was
not
like
as
06. Yeah.
much.
I thought this
that's-
show was pretty sick, to be honest.
Yeah.
All right,
Oh, it's like Canadian one, like Cookie Jar. Oh, okay, Cookie Jar Entertainment did this. Okay, I'm familiar with them.
yeah.
Yeah, this one not really. To be completely honest, I think. Let me see it.
Thought it was a really good show.
Yeah. For sure.
Beautiful
I guess
Joe was
Baby
really
Looney
good too.
Tunes was on there too.
Yep.
Right.
Baby
Yeah.
Looney Tunes is great.
Yeah.
At the 2003 Astro Boy. Would you ever watch that one? And if so, what'd you think of it?
I do remember that 2003 Astro Boy. I never, to be honest, I never really watched it. I remember when they had the movie come out years later. That was supposed to be like a big reboot or like a reimagination
Yeah.
of like Astro Boy, like with the CG stuff. But yeah, that version of the show, and you said Mega Man earlier too as well, which that one I didn't really. I wasn't like a Mega Man. I know like the '90s one and a little bit of MT Warrior, but like I think that was the more because it was like a spin-off, I guess, of Mega Man. Like,
Yeah.
this
I
game. So not a lot of people talked about it very much, unfortunately. I think it aired on Toonami too, didn't it?
It did. It did air on Toonami at one
yeah.
point as well. I liked it because it had a lot of like really cool like animation. To be honest with you, like every time they would like try to get into the game, they had to like pull out their readers and swipe their car, and they're like "Game on," like that kind of, like I
Beyblade-esque.
yeah, I always thought that was so cool.
Yeah, all the little catchphrases and things that they would do to hook everyone to get all the toys and things. Um, Not Kids WB, but did you ever watch Mega Man Fully Charged? The latest
No.
one,
Mm-mm.
latest in quotes. Yeah, that one, that was a forgotten one because people it was really cheap. I mean, it was sad because Man of Action was making it, and I'm like, oh, the Ben 10 people, I'm sold. And then I watched
Oh,
it, and I'm
nice.
like, this is really rough. It's not great, but it's not as awful, I think, as a lot of people said. It's not very accurate to Mega Man either. They kind of changed a lot of stuff about like the status quo of like Mega Man, like with some characters. Like Dr. Wily's not even in it. They have like an original villain. They allude to Dr. Wily though with other characters.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a completely like Canadian like cast of like people, and they do a cool thing that I don't think any other Mega Man show has done, where when Mega Man absorbs the powers of the Robot Master, he gets their personality type too. So like the first episode is Fireman, so he's angry when he absorbs it. Like that's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
They don't really push it very far. It's like the classic era of Mega Man too. It's not like the 2000s ones as much.
Right.
But and they would do cute little pixel art transitions like the old Mega Man games. Like as like the intro would start, or like when they would cut to different scenes, it'd be like a digitized transition. I'm like, that's kind of fun.
Oh, that's super cool.
But Mega Man's kind of like dead. Yeah, I know, right? It's just Capcom. Man, Capcom's always. I don't think you never really liked Mega Man very much, with like Legends being canceled.
I actually didn't know this one show aired on Kids WB. I just mostly watched it from like VHS tapes. Do you remember Rescue Heroes? Like,
not coming to mind right away.
Look up Rescue Heroes. Even type in Rescue Heroes VHS if you want to, because dude, I had.
Oh, this does look very vaguely familiar.
Yeah, dude, I had a lot of these tapes.
I kind of remember this.
Yeah, and like the covers of the tapes, I remember being like so sick. Like I even as a kid, I was like what's on the cover? Like he's got like he's like dressed as a fireman, and he's like putting out this giant fire. Like that looks amazing, you know. Or there's one where he's like saving this one person from like a cliff. I'm like, whoa, this is cool. You know, the episodes themselves were alright, you know, but they really knew how to like advertise on the packaging what you were gonna get.
Right. Yeah, I do remember this vaguely. My brain, I mean, this gives me like GI Joe vibes, I guess, too, a little bit, which I never was super crazy about.
Yeah, it definitely gives that off a little bit. Yeah.
But yeah, it looks charming. I thought I'd played maybe one of the games maybe as a kid. I was looking through. They had a Game Boy Advance game, I guess, and some other stuff. But or like, oh yeah, or those old edutainment games. So Fisher Price made some PC Rescue Heroes games, like they used to back in the day for a lot of other like PC like edutainment stuff. I remember I forgot. I think Deke had that one show about like the history with those kids. Liberty Kids, I think it was.
Liberty Kids, yep, you're right.
So that's kind of what it reminds me of. Or I used to be obsessed with I used to like a lot of those edutainment stuff too. But that's cool. I didn't know Rescue Heroes had that. But no, I didn't know that even. I remember it vaguely, but I don't remember if I saw it on Kids WB or not. I'm not sure.
That's a good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to look into some of those ones. It's good that you brought up Animaniacs too. I didn't even think about that, and like the reboot when that happened a couple years ago.
Animaniacs is great. Long. Yeah.
Yeah. Which it was weird though, because the new like reboot was crazy because they had people from Ren and Stimpy work on it, like Katie Rice, and I'm like, oh, that's really interesting because they're like this gives Ren and Stimpy vibes, these new character designs, and that makes sense because one of the character designers of Ren and Stimpy worked on it.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting. I had the whole complete series of Animaniacs. I need to really go through it, but I love like the Nations of the World, of course. That's like the best way to remember all that stuff, and like Rob doing like updated versions of it at like cons, which is really cool.
Right.
Yeah, no, they had a lot of really great classic episodes and all the double entendres, and I have somebody in another server I'm in that he has like a Mozart PFP, so every time he'll like talk about piano or whatever, I always send a clip of Mozart from Animaniacs.
Oh wow, really?
Because his name is Pianist Tanuki.
Oh god.
And I've just sent him the pianist clip from Animaniacs, and it's funny. And that's always what my brain goes to when I think of that. It's a classic.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kids WB just had so much good stuff. It really was. Yeah, I hate to call it you had to be there, because you know you can watch the promos online and get like a good idea. You know.
Yeah.
But
still not the same though.
Yeah, but at the same, yeah, exactly, because like at the same time, it's also like, man, growing up with it was so magical? I don't know, man. There was something about it.
Well, you didn't know what would always be airing, right? Like I gave an example, like whenever I go on vacation, like I would be watching well, Saturday mornings were like huge. Like I like to sleep in. I don't like to wake up early for stuff, but like
Yeah.
I would for Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon and yeah, and like Mucha Lucha. Well,
Dude.
especially Shaolin Showdown too, like when like the fucking season finale, they're like, "Oh, Raimundo and Wuya are going to take over the world." I'm like, "Well, fuck, I got to watch the next episode. I got to see what happens, dude. They can't cliffhanger me."
Yeah, dude.
That's crazy, man.
I loved watching because I'm a big energy guy, and so like I could just tell that like just from watching it, like I was receiving good energy, receiving like good vibes. You know,
Yeah.
like I just there was something about Kids WB and Classic Cartoon Network. There was something about it that was very intriguing to the audience.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it made you really like and no offense to Nickelodeon and Disney. I mean, I've watched all of those ones too, but I think you're right where it's like their approach I think to a lot of stuff too was really magical or really I felt like I was in the world of these characters and things like that too where it's like, "Oh, I want to go like a show and like a block does their job where it's like I want to live in this world that they created for these promos that play
Yes.
for like 30 seconds or a minute long like a lot of the time like it's like
And
barely any time but it really like it cements in your brain.
And if you think about it, they did CN City before CN City. Why do people love
That's
CN
true.
City? They love it because the characters from all of these different shows are getting the opportunity to interact. Look at Kids WB
Yeah.
and look at the promos. That was that. That was
Right.
all of these characters. Like, whoa, this episode of
They're planting
Pokemon
the
just
seeds.
ended. You know, what's this promo? What Ash Ketchum's interacting with Batman because Batman's coming up next. What? Like, I love
Yeah.
Batman. I love Ash. Like, whoa. You know, then
No,
the
it's
episode of
genius marketing.
yeah, because then the episode of Batman starts, and now I'm so into it because
Right.
Batman was just talking to Ash Ketchum, and I love Pokemon. So now I'm like, all
That's
right,
how they get you.
yeah, exactly. 'Cause now it's like, all right, Batman, you got me sold. I'm ready to go on your adventure because I just finished Ash's adventure. Let's go.
Yeah. Because like the classic marketing technique was like, well, we got to have like a catchy intro that's going to get the kids' attention. But then they took it a step further, and like Kids WB and Cartoon Network, where it's like, don't get me wrong, all the intros for those shows incredible. Mucha Lucha and Batman and Ozzy and Drix and all that stuff, all great. And I was always sucked in. I was always so hyped to listen to the intro every time. Shaolin Showdown's probably my favorite though out of all those, and maybe Mucha Lucha too. But that and on top of that, where it's like, oh yeah, Shaggy and Ash and Yugi are all talking, and Shaggy has the Yugi hair and all the and it would be themed too. It wasn't just like they would theme it to like the time like Cartoon Network did too, where it's like this is a summer block, this is a winter one. They all made it feel cohesive, where it's like, oh cool, this is a winter thing, so Lubeg is gonna sing like a snow Pokemon song that's cute, or it's like them during the summer. It's all these kids. I think the kids in Kids WB because they would have the logo would even be alive too, right? It would be jumping around like the Warner lot, and they'd be doing all this kind of just random shit.
Yeah.
And just having fun and yeah, it felt alive. Like nothing felt sterile. Like even the logo like was literally like anthropomorphic. Like it was alive, which is super cool.
I thought the logo being alive was awesome. I remember it like bouncing
Yeah,
around
yeah.
everywhere. I remember some of the cool promos like Kids WB Yourself where the logo was like, dude, the logo was almost like its own character. Like that's what I thought was also like kind of magic, was like the logo was like alive.
Definitely, dude.
But I think that's pretty much all I have to say about Kids WB. Do you have anything else you would like to add?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. I think my thoughts were about the just Kids WB in a nutshell. It was awesome. It was great growing up with.
Kids WB was phenomenal. It was one of the greatest things, in my opinion, to grow up with as far as television is concerned.
Yep.
You know, and long live Kids WB in spirit. But anyways, guys, we're going to go ahead and jump on out of here. Thanks as always for tuning in with us, and we'll see all of you guys in the next YouTube video. See you guys.
Take care.